Welcome to episode 83 of The Fun Waste of Time. I'm Taurus, and on this episode of the show, we're going to talk about all of the craziness that's going on in the video game industry with all of these price increases. Consoles are increasing, subscription services are increasing. So we just want to talk a little bit about how we feel about all of that and if we will continue to enjoy the hobby at the level that we've been enjoying it over the years because of all of these price hikes. In addition to that, we're going to talk about all the video games we've been playing, movies and TV shows we've been watching as well. But before we get into all of that, let's check in with the fellas. What's happening, guys?
What is up, Taurus?
What's going on? How's it going?
Doing pretty good, James. It is so good to see you, my man. We always miss you when you're not on the show. How are you?
Good. I'm like I said earlier in pre-production here. I'm a little bit happy that I missed the last one.
So you heard a little bit about the home theater conflict or controversy that I was involuntarily involved in.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate, but I'm glad everybody's unscathed and we're past that now.
Absolutely. It was a learning experience, and we've definitely moved on from it. And as I stated on the last episode of the show, if you want to hear about all of that, go back a couple of episodes and check it out. But we're the fun waste of time, so we like to keep it fun and keep the energy high. What is going on, Jason? How have you been?
Hey, not too bad, man. I'm just excited that the Black Panther himself, James, is back. I'm telling you, especially when it's one of these video game centric episodes. I mean, he always has so much deeper insight than I could possibly give into these type of topics. So yeah, glad to have you back, James.
Thanks, brother. Glad to be back.
And what is going on, Anthony? How have you been?
Been doing good. Just been trying to fill my time with some new downtime lately. Looking for that permanence code.
Oh, you guys want to take a guess at what he's talking about?
I'm stumped already, man.
Don't know.
I know exactly what he's talking about because I saw that movie just last night. Tron Ares. You went to see Tron Ares?
I did.
Oh my gosh. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts about it in the watch list portion because I have thoughts as well.
What time did you see it?
We saw it at the Evo Theater. There's a local Texas chain here in South Texas called Evo Entertainment. And they've got a theater not too far away from where Anthony and I live. Anthony only lives about a mile away from me, maybe less than that. And the theater is only about a couple of miles away from me as well. So that's the theater that I chose to go to this time. I hadn't been there in years, Anthony. Yeah. And I got to say, they stepped up their game when it comes to their features and their seats and all of that. I was quite surprised. The seats were much more comfortable than they had been in the past. The screen didn't have any blemishes on it. And, me being who I am, I catch on to those things. So I was kind of surprised. The bass in the theater was very lacking, though. But other than that, I was pretty happy with the experience. The food at that particular theater has always been fantastic.
What time
Gourmet.
was it, though?
I went at 7:15. I went with the guys in the movie group that I'm in.
Yeah. We went around the same time. I was across the street. I was at Santico.
Is that Santico's? Okay.
Yeah, and we almost had the whole theater to ourselves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we actually had a lot of open seats. And usually when I go to the theater, guys, I buy the seat next to me because when I order my food, I like to set my food on that little table over there and in those seats.
First world problems right there.
I know, right?
I'm
not surprised
old,
the theater
man.
was empty, though.
I'm old. When you get to my age, you don't want people sitting next to you. Their elbows rubbing on your arm and all. No, I reserve. My wife has that right. Nobody else.
Fair.
Fantastic, guys. Well, I'll tell you what I want to start the show off with this time, guys, before we actually get things moving. I'm going to do my open forum portion at the beginning of the show because those of us who are home theater enthusiasts that listen to the show, they typically like to hear those portions of the show early on as opposed to having to wait a little later in the show.
Is that so they can just stop listening or stop
Pretty
watching
much.
right afterwards? Is that what you're saying?
I heard that there's one guy that they don't like the comments of, and his name is Anthony.
Oh, I
Anthony
believe
P.
that. I'm okay with that.
Shoot, I thought it was going to be me. I'll take second.
Now, sometimes I ramble on too long, so they're like, Taurus, say what you got to say in the beginning so we can, if we want to hear the rest of it, we'll hear the rest of it. But, do what you got to do in the beginning so we can, get in and figure out if we want to hang out a little longer after that. And I was like, okay, no worries. But what we're going to do, guys, we are going to do the home theater experience portion of the show. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the most recent upgrade that I made. On the last episode, I mentioned that I wasn't going to do my open forum at that time because there was the potential of me improving the experience that I have in the theater based on some interactions I was having with a business in the home theater community that actually was able to assist me with something. And we got that worked out, and I just want to share with you guys what that is. So we're going to get into home theater experience, guys.
TV, movies, video games, the ultimate home theater experience. HTX.
All right. So, as you guys know, and a couple of episodes ago, we did a home theater experience where I shared some upgrades in the theater that I made a while back. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to share with you guys what I have done since then. Now, if you remember, let me get this set up properly here. If you remember, I had 2 subwoofers in the back of the room back in the day. And since then, I have actually increased the number of subwoofers that I have. Give me 1 second to get this set up. And I will show you what I've done. Thought I had it, but. Right.
Ooh, turn it down a little bit. It's kind of loud.
I bet. All right, here we go. Okay. There we go. Okay, so initially I started out with 2 subs in the back of the room, and was pretty happy with that. They were actually working really well for me. And once I got the subwoofer stand set up, I was able to place them on the stand to improve the resonance in the room. Getting them off the floor helped with that quite a bit. The configuration that they're in is what's called a near field configuration, where you're really getting the tactile feel of all of the bass that's coming through the content that you're watching, because it's not too far away from the seats themselves. And I like aesthetics. I don't just want subs just hanging out in the room or equipment just hanging out in the room. I want to cover it and make sure that it blends in with the rest of the aesthetic of the room. So typically what I'll do is I'll have a subwoofer runner built for it, and it just kind of blends into the room real well that way. So I went from 2 subs to 3. And in the last home theater experience that I did, where I shared my upgrades, I showed you guys that I actually had 3 subwoofers. So I was able to improve it to 3. And the tactile feel in the room with that additional sub just really took the experience up another level. It was just amazing how tactile it all felt. And no matter what I'm watching, it just feels as if you're involved and you're immersed in that particular content, in that experience. So 3 subs, had to get a sub runner for those. And then the most recent addition that I made is I actually have 4 subwoofers in the back of the room now. So these are the SVS SB17 subwoofers. There are 4 in the back of the room. And then I have the 2 towers in the front of the room, 4 towers, 4 subwoofers stacked in the front of the room on each side of the room, the left and right. Now in the back of the room, I have 4 as well. So now there are 4 SB17 SVS subwoofers here too.
So my question is, do those chairs still function normally? Is there enough space, like clearance?
Yeah.
There actually is. There is.
Okay.
And the cool thing about it is, like I said, they act as near field subwoofers, right? So near field is almost like having a bass transducer under the seat, where whenever there's some tactile, there's some bass going on, there's some deep bass or some mid bass happening, you can actually feel the bass inside of the seat. Bass transducers you usually put on the frame of the chair, but when you do a near field with larger subwoofer configuration, you don't need those bass transducers attached to the frame of the seat, because those subwoofers are just so powerful. They're going to move not only the chairs, but the riser under it as well. And I'm on the 2nd floor in my theater. So I get a lot of really good tactile feel. Whatever I watch, I am extremely happy with it. And I have a lot of flexibility to be able to set up anything that I watch, make any adjustments to it to my liking. And having this many subwoofers in the room, because not only do I have the 12 SVS flagship subs, the 4 in the back and then the 8 in the front, I've also got the 15 10-inch subs strategically placed on the ceiling and on the front stage, and then there are 2 on the back wall. One of them you can actually see here on the back wall, and there's another one here on the back wall. And this is the subs and the runner from the opposite side of the room. So very happy with this, guys. I just wanted to share that with you. That is my open forum at the very beginning of the show. But I wanted to do this now so that anybody that was listening and was very curious about what I was talking about when I ended the show on the last episode, now you have an idea of what I was actually referring to at that time. But that was my open forum portion and the home theater experience portion of the show. Now what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to go on and move it to the playlist. We're going to do video games, and we're going to start it with what we've been watching.
Video games. The Fun Waste of Time Podcast. Pick up the controller. Video games. Video games. Video games.
All right. What I want to do is I want to start it out with Anthony. Anthony, what have you been watching what have you been playing, since we were last together?
So I, just like my good friend Jason over there, have been playing Ghost of Yotei. Picked it up as soon as it was released because, again, Ghost of Tsushima was one of my favorite games. And even though when we spotlighted the games that we're looking forward to coming this year, and I failed to recognize that it was being released this year.
I think about that every day, man. That's so funny.
Until and I didn't catch it in the beginning until the very end, but that's fine too. It is one of my favorite games. But this latest entry, again, it delivers stunning visuals, a great storyline so far, and the characters are just as good, if not maybe even a hint better than the original. The combat, it feels familiar as the first one did, but it did add some new flair, like some new melee weapons, like I know I'm gonna hatch it the way you pronounce it, but Kusarigama, which I super love. How you say it? Kasurigama. Thank you. See, that's why I love Jason over there. He cleans up all my messes.
Watching all that sumo helps with Japanese pronunciation.
There you go. Yeah, 3 years there. Apparently I didn't ever use any kind of melee weapons while I was stationed in Japan, so I have no idea how to pronounce it. Again, the game excels with tactile feedback. I haven't felt anything that felt as good as that, except for the predecessor. I love the flashbacks and the narrative. I didn't think I would, but it actually works. I like the way they handle them and how you access those memories. There's also a lot of twists I didn't see coming. I love the open world again. I was playing this thing, I think, I was like 2 or 3 days into it, and I was like, man, I'm putting in some serious hours here. I gotta be at least 70% done. And I realized when I was done, I looked at the percentage, I was like 30% done.
Yeah,
I was like, this game is huge. Because I realized what I do is on my way to missions, there are some areas where you can fast travel, but I don't really take advantage of that much because I just think the lands are so stunning and you just never know what's going to happen, what you can acquire, what you can pick up along the way. But I get super distracted. I'll set out on a mission and I'm on my way there. One thing happens, it leads to another thing, and then next thing you know, I've been diverted by about an hour or two on stuff that had nothing to do with where I was going, but it's just fun. I tried playing this one, and much to my credit, I did raise the difficulty a little bit on this one, so that might explain why I'm taking a little bit longer. But it's just fun. The music in the game as well is exquisite. I like the music. There's some music challenges in there, and I just think they did a really good job of making it familiar, but yet adding enough new stuff in there that really held my interest. Jason, what about you? I know you're playing this as well. What are your thoughts on the game so far?
Yeah, so I mentioned in the last episode that I was trying to avoid getting any games that would distract me too much before this one came out. I actually ended up getting Sonic Racing Crossworlds because I love the Sonic Racing games. Mm-hmm. I had that game for like 2 days when I got the notification that my Ghost of Yotei had shipped. So much for Sonic. I'll come back to him, in a few months once I'm done with this long freaking game. But first, I'll talk about what you touched on is the visuals. Good Lord, man. I almost forgot that the PS5 had a photo mode, but I've used it so much with this game. I don't even know what I'm going to do with the photos. I don't think you can export them or anything, but it just looks so good. The gameplay is almost identical to Ghost of Tsushima, which is not a bad thing. I really like it. Now, when I've been putting maybe 4 or 5 hours every day into the game. I'm not that far into it. And as I was playing it for my first couple days, I was like, man, this is way harder than Ghost of Tsushima. I'm getting my butt kicked. I don't know what's up with this. Then I realized I had not upgraded a single weapon. I hadn't equipped a charm. I hadn't done any of that stuff, man. I hadn't upgraded my armor, nothing. I was I was at the lowest level for everything. So I went through because of course I had earned all these upgrades. I just didn't equip them. And so I equipped them all and I'm like, okay, the game's fun now. I'm cool. I'm not playing it on fun mode, but I am playing it on normal, what I've referred to as man mode on a few podcasts past, but I've really been like Anthony was saying, the characters you really care about them, and as you guys well know, I am a cutscene skipper, and I'm not gonna lie here. I've skipped some of these cutscenes as well, but it's kept me interested enough that I'm only skipping maybe 25% of the cutscenes. It's only on the side missions when I want to get to slashing and I don't want to hear what the person has to say. That's all.
Jason, it's funny that you mentioned that about the equipping the weapons.
Uh-huh.
My problem was, as everybody knows, and I always get taunted from Taurus on, I like to coordinate and customize my stuff. So I spent a lot of time doing challenges that I knew would unlock other fits.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then I'm realizing, like, why am I getting my butt kicked so much? And I'm like, well, dude, you're not doing anything to acquire any new skills.
Right.
You're not upgrading any of your weapons. It's like, okay, maybe.
All Anthony was worried about was this here.
Well, the secret is you got to coordinate.
Exactly. Because one thing I was like, I would get the new fit, and then I'd be like, it looks a little chunky once you upgrade it. Let me go get another different fit and see what was up. But about 2 days into it, I was like, you know what? I'm going to focus a little bit more on making my character just a little bit better fighter rather than just making sure she's fly. So
yeah. Want to make sure you look good when you're killed.
Hey,
exactly.
Yeah.
You got to coordinate. Most people don't coordinate. You got to coordinate.
Anthony over there coordinating, dying left and right, but he's looking fly like you said.
That's right. That's right. Hey, you're laughing, but I was like, at one point I'd even said, you know what? This blood is not getting off my fur. I wonder if I do one of those hot spas, if it'll just take the blood off when I put my clothes back on.
All you got to do is do a roll into a river or something. That's what I did. I can't stand it when that blood's all over my clothes, man.
I can't either.
Yeah, you just roll in the river real quick. It's magic. It takes
tip.
all the blood
Everybody
right
hear
off.
that? That's Jason's pro tip of the day.
Pro tip,
If
pro
your
aesthetic tip.
If your costume gets dirty, mud or blood, just roll in the river, baby.
That's all you got to do. It's plenty of rivers. It's a big open world. So, or it might start raining. That the weather changes. It's it's Red Dead Samurai is what the game is really.
That's actually a very good. That's actually a very good analogy.
Yeah.
Because it does at times feel like that. You're right.
For sure. And I was excited about the game. And when you're that hyped about something, you can't help but be a little disappointed when the real thing comes out. But that disappointed lasted, it lasted maybe 10 minutes. And then
Disappointment about what, Jason?
it mostly goes back to me forgetting to upgrade stuff. So I was like, if the game's gonna be this hard, I don't know if I can put 100 hours into it. And then I'm like, oh god, the charms. Just equip something, Jason. Come on, make yourself a little stronger. But just from a history buff point of view, I'll very quickly say this is that in this game, a lot of the bad guys are samurai, and you hear complaints a lot, especially about the first Ghost of Tsushima and movies like The Last Samurai, where the samurai are kind of glorified more than historically they really should be. This kind of injects a little truth into there. The samurai are not these perfect, majestic warriors. They're flawed, they're corrupt in a lot of ways. And the story of this game so far, even though I'm not that far into it, has done a really good job of conveying that. So as a history guy, that's important to me, and they did hit on that, and I think that's very cool. So I'll probably talk a little bit more about the game. I try not to talk about games more than once on the show, but this is a big enough one, and especially because I know that Anthony and I can have a little bit of a back and forth about it, and by that time, maybe James will have played it. So, I'm excited about it. It's really been good at killing some of the time when I should be mowing the lawn, and I'm like, I can't mow right now. I gotta mow down some samurai. So yeah.
What percentage would you say you are, Jason?
Oh, dude, if I'm even 20%, I'd be surprised.
Oh, wow.
Because I
Okay.
can only take it, the ADD thing again. I can
got
only
you.
take it
I got
in increments. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it's been for me. But I'm not going to give up on it. Nothing else that I'm going to like any better is coming out anytime soon. So yeah.
Yeah.
But that's it from me. James, excited to hear about what you've been playing, man.
So, like you said, I there's just too much right now close together. So I am skipping it and waiting a little bit. Since I was last on, I bought NBA 2K26. I played that. I haven't bought it in a few years, so I impulse bought it, and I regret it because Snake Eater came out like a few days after.
Oh yeah.
So I started playing that, and I don't think I've touched 2K since like the second week it was out. So flush that $150 down the toilet.
Well, 150.
150.
Yeah,
Which
well,
one you get?
like I like to play my career, so like I want to, coordinate, and I don't want to have to. I can't look. My hobby time is limited. Football started, so I can't be starting at a 65 and try and get them to an 80, so I can at least hit a jump shot. So I had to buy the bigger one so I could boost them off rip.
Man.
Again, same thing with Snake Eater. Kind of bad timing. I played a little bit of it, and then Borderlands 4 came out. So I started playing that. I really, really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy the third one. This one plays a lot like the second one and the first one, and I've had a lot of fun with it. I forgot kind of how good of a looter shooter it was. And especially now that I don't play Destiny anymore, like this has kind of scratched that itch, and I've spent a fair amount of time playing it. But all of that has kind of come to an end because NASCAR came out, and I'm back on my sim rig playing NASCAR, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I was going to ask Taurus if I can be excused early tonight so I can go back to playing it after the video game segment.
Nice.
Super, super cool. I'd been playing Gran Turismo on my sim rig, and that was fun, but like NASCAR is my favorite, and I really, really enjoyed it. I started my career mode already. They start you in the lowest series, which is the Arca Menard series, and you're graded on everything from how clean you race. You have to earn sponsorships, so it's like a really like kind of starts you like at the bottom, and you got to work your way up. If you're a racing fan or not, I won't spoil it, but the career mode, I wasn't sure how good it was going to be because, again, like it's race car driving. Like, what can they add? But they did add a lot of depth to it. They kind of give you like this little thing like, hey, this is your shot. You got to finish above a certain spot and you get basically a seat in a car. So I thought it started off really cool. There's a really cool like entrance video. I won't spoil it, but it definitely like gets you in the feels, and it's done by a driver that everybody's familiar with. So it's definitely like gets kind of your blood flowing before you get into it. Super cool. You can customize your car. You can change the paint scheme. There's probably 200 colors to choose from, and 20 or 30 different like decal packages. You can adjust the logo on the hood, the doors, the side. You can change the color of your rims. You can change the color of your fire suit, your helmet, everything. So
hold on, James. So basically, you can do this.
Well, the secret is you got to coordinate. Most people don't coordinate. So you got to coordinate.
So I
you
was
coordinate.
really like, I was obviously like, I wanted to get some playing in before the show, and I'm not gonna lie, I probably spent 45 minutes like getting my car right for the first couple races. Then I did pretty good, and it's like, oh, you have a new sponsor, and well, the new sponsor was like red, white, and blue, and my car was black, red, and white. So I'm like, I can't. So like I spent like another 20 minutes, and then like I looked at my watch, and I'm like, okay, let me get out of career mode and like go in and race with like the real drivers that they have in the game too as well. What I'll say about this game is if you like racing, it's definitely for everybody. It's so far is definitely designed to play on a controller too as well. And you can do as little as 4% of a race. So, obviously a race is 500 miles. It's 300 laps. Like, you can do just like a quick, like Daytona, for example, at 4%, it's 3 laps. So you don't have to do the pitting and all of that extra stuff unless you want it.
Good.
So it's very, very like user friendly. And yeah, there's a picture of my setup in my car, number 4. See, it was black and red.
so-
It's blue. It's red, white, and blue now.
Let me ask you a question there, James.
Mm-hmm.
What version did you get? Did you get any? So, I haven't played NASCAR. I've played the F1 game, and it's some similar principles of what you just discussed. But I noticed in the F1, you do get some of those things, but your decals and stuff, you need a certain amount of points or whatever. You need to earn. You basically based on your accomplishments, you get more sponsor choices and stuff. But is it one of those micro purchase like where you need like to make the changes as a fellow coordinator? Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see like, can you like make a lot of the changes you're talking about right from the start, or do you have to get some virtual credit, virtual coin, whatever, in order to expand your choices?
No, not as of right now. There's no microtransactions. I was just given a sponsor to start.
Okay.
All of the paint schemes and decals were available. So, like when you're designing a character and you can pick face 1 through 20, that's how the designs were.
Okay.
And then, like to change the color rims on your car, you have a full color palette to choose from. When I did get my new sponsor, they gave me like different options. So like, obviously your hood is the main decal, but for like the side quarter panels, they had a long rectangle or they had a little circle emblem too as well. And you could kind of fool around with that a little bit. Then like on the back of your trunk, if you wanted to put a logo there, you could too as well. And you could choose based on so far the logos that they give you, kind of like the sticker sets essentially. And you can move and transition those any way you want, like on your car.
Gotcha. One last question for you too, and tell me you like to pit though, right?
So I didn't know how many I was going to be able to do. Mm-hmm. So I moved it up to 25%, which is a quarter of a race. And Bristol is 200 laps. So I did 50 on that track. And so I did have to pit like for my tires, but I had the choice. So there was a caution because I spun a guy out. I was tired of riding behind him. He wouldn't move.
Rubbing his racing.
And it was like, hey, we recommend that you pit. And it gives you the option. You don't have to. You could be like, no, I'm staying out, to keep your track position, or you could pit. And I chose to pit. I lost 10 spots on pit row. And to be honest with you, I like wrecked my way back to like 8th place. And then I got spun out.
Man.
Well, I just know like
So I ended
when
up finishing
started
20th.
F1, to get used to the controls, I wouldn't pit it first, but then I felt like it added another dimension to the game, extending that percentage to where I could pit, and I think
sure.
it added a little bit more realism for me, or at least it enhanced the experience of having that pit in there, having to pit, depending on how like you said, what percentage of laps you're doing is how many pits you'd have to do and stuff like that. But I at least always wanted to make sure I got 1 or 2 in.
For sure.
I didn't know if you felt the same way or not.
Yeah, no, I definitely. And like, this is more of like I just wanted to try it before we got on.
Yeah.
Because I originally I thought I wasn't going to be able to get to it till after. So I was a little bit excited that I got to play it. Eventually, I want to work my way up to, taking all of the assists off. I already felt like with using the steering wheel and the force feedback that I had to adjust the car more than I probably needed to get rid of how easy it felt, I guess.
Okay.
And then the other issue that I'm having too is like, I have like a $400 wheel, just the one that comes all in a box. Well, the wheel radius on that is pretty small. So I found like, Bristol's probably can only really fit 3-ish cars maybe. That when I'm turning into the turn, I have to be really careful that I don't oversteer the car to get it straight. And that has a little bit to do with the wheel radius. So I'm going to have to dial it in a little bit more just to get like a better feel. And then I do eventually want to buy a shifter too. So I'm not using the paddle shifter, that I'm shifting it more like a race car. But like I said before, like, because I had practiced 2-foot driving on Gran Turismo, I thought like I did like really, really well with Bristol because I had the practice 2-foot, left foot braking. It really allowed me to get around the track a lot better. And then like I looked up and I'm like, oh my God, I'm in 8th place. And I just have like a beater car. Like I haven't upgraded the engine or anything yet. And I'm like, oh wow. Yeah. So like I was running really good times. But it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it.
Fantastic. All right. So I'm going to share what I've actually been playing. I'm going to share with you guys what I've actually been doing inside of my theater. So this is me playing Ghost of Yotei in my theater. It is a very, very cinematic game, guys.
Yeah.
If you're not playing, if you've got a large television, you got a media room, or you have a traditional dedicated theater, and you like to play video games, this is the kind of game that you will want to play in your theater. I played Ghost of Tsushima in my theater the whole time that I played it, and it was a phenomenal experience, and I couldn't wait to get to Yotei and play this in my theater as well. I was smiling. All you can see, as I stated the last time, is my big, beautiful bald head, but you can't see the smile in front of my face as I'm playing that game because I am smiling. Now,
I thought that was a milk dud on the screen. I didn't realize that was your head, bro. My bad.
It's sweet and tasty like a milk dud. I'll tell you that.
Please don't ever tell me that you're sweet and tasty again.
Hey, I'm just saying. You said milk duds, bro. I'm trying to help you out. Yeah. But Jason talked about how difficult the combat was. I didn't find the combat to be super challenging. I'm playing on normal. The cool thing about the combat is there's some complexity to it. There's some strategy to it. And once you actually figure that out, it's really, I won't say it's easy to maneuver through some of the challenges that you come up through, the duels that you actually have, but they give you indicators of when they're getting ready to do their moves. And based on those indicators, as you start to upgrade your skills, which is what Anthony stated that he wasn't doing much because he was so focused on his clothes. And then Jason wasn't doing much because, he was just engaged in just playing the game. But if you do upgrade your skills, your weapons and all of that, the experience that you're going to have is just going to be out of this world.
But look how filthy you are. Right there.
Oh, dude. Well, and that's another thing about the game, too. I'm going to talk about that, too.
Right there, bro.
The river's right there, man. What the hell are you doing? Look, me and Jay may not know a lot about the combat as you do, but look, we clean.
We're aesthetic, bro.
Well, let me ask you. Did you play the Miike mode that Takahashi, I think his name is Takahashi or Takashi Miike, the 3 different modes that they have in the game that you can actually switch on?
Nah, I didn't touch any of them. I just played it
Okay.
normal.
Well, I did. The reason you're seeing me as bloody as I am here is because I turned on Mikkei mode. Mikkei mode ramps up the blood. It ramps up the mud.
I see.
You know, so as you're running through the world and you're fighting, and just like with using any kind of knives or swords, blood's going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
And you actually get that experience as you're playing the game. It really takes the immersion of what you're doing up another notch. And then I also turned on the Watanabe mode, right? Shinichiro Watanabe. He's the one that actually created Samurai Champloo and Cowboy Bebop.
Okay.
And as you're going through the world, you can play these lo-fi beats as you're like on your horse. You know, you're traveling from one location to the next, or you're just kind of in the world, just checking things out, exploring, even talking to people. And it's a really awesome experience, man.
Huh.
It really is. If you've not done it, do it once you
I'm
actually
gonna
get back
check
on the
that
game.
out. Yeah, I didn't even know that was an option. That's kinda
Yeah,
cool.
and then you can pair them, right? You can turn them all on at one time, except for Kurosawa mode. I think Kurosawa mode, you can do either. I think you can do Kurosawa with Mikkei mode with all the blood, black and white, but you get all of the blood and mud and all of that. And you can turn on the no, you can turn all three on. You can turn on Kurosawa, the black and white, the Mikkei mode, which increases the blood and mud spills that you're going to come across, and then the Watanabe mode, which is a lo-fi beats.
I see.
And man, it is just freaking awesome.
I'm proud of you, Taurus. I didn't think you was going to show that part because I thought you may have been avoiding it for content purposes, but that took you a lot less tries
that
than I
bamboo
thought it was
strike?
going to.
Taurus, I wasn't gonna say anything, man, but
I don't hide,
sure as
man.
hell was
I don't
thinking
hide.
it.
Listen, I told you guys my skills have increased since I've been
I'm
playing a little
impressed.
more these Souls-like games.
I will say though, I mean, I know what you're saying as far as the indicators. I think for me, where the combat became a little bit more challenging is when you've got a group of 4 to 5 people, and
Oh, yeah.
you've got to change weapons because your katana, is for katanas, and then you've got your long stick. I don't even remember the names I have
The Yari.
anymore.
So you have
the
you've got the
Yari
katana,
For the
the Yari, which is basically the spear,
Yeah.
the Odachi,
the
which is
spear.
the long sword,
Yes.
the dual swords, and then there's one other one that I've not gotten just yet.
that's the one
think
we were
it-
talking. Me and Jason said.
Wait, hold on. So you got the Yari before the Kusurigama?
I did. You can do it in different. You don't have to do it in the same order.
Oh, I'm thinking
He
the
did it
game's more
wrong,
linear
Jason.
than it is. Yeah, yeah, that's right.
No, he did it wrong. He did it wrong.
Yeah, so
That's
you
why.
don't have to tackle any particular Yotei 6 boss in any order,
That's right. Yeah.
right?
yeah.
You can do
know,
them all
it-
in different orders. You can go to
it-
different lands and work through that
It's funny
land.
that
And
you say that though, because I started off, and I didn't realize what it takes to actually take one of the 6 down. Because obviously the first one's pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I was so convinced I was doing it in the wrong order because there was so much to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, wait, let me Google this real quick. Am I doing this in the wrong order? Because this feels almost like, I mean, literally, it almost felt like a ball, I know obviously he wasn't the main guy, but I felt like maybe this is the next to main guy I was doing first.
yeah.
And it just shows you
Yeah.
how intricate that the stories are.
it really is.
So I'm glad you brought that up, Taurus. I forgot to mention that,
That's the thing. I noticed
you know,
that there
the
were
freedom that you had.
Oh, sorry, Anthony. I was going to say, I noticed there were a lot of things, and I'm sure this is obviously for story purposes, but there were so many times where you come so close to killing one of those guys, and then something happens and he gets away. And I'm like, am I going to get revenge on anyone in this game? I mean,
yeah.
you know, I didn't get... So hopefully, I think you guys are further in the game than I am, but hopefully... I'm sorry, man. I'm watching this footage, and I'm just saying, just roll in the puddle, man. Just roll in.
You see all of them, all of that mud that's the Mikkei mode.
Oh,
that's
hey,
the Mikkei mode.
but look,
in the
that's-
normal game, you won't have that much mud and you won't have that much blood being spilled.
Oh,
But
That's
in
what
Mikkei
you're
mode-
thinking, Jason. But what I'm thinking is, man, he's dressed really basic.
Yeah, I mean, the hat's kind of cool. I'll give him that.
He ain't put nothing into that fit. All his stuff is weapons. Maybe hey, look, maybe he's got an easier time with combat than I do, but he looked basic when he going through the he's going through that ride.
he is the gentleman that tucks his sweatpants into his socks. So
That is true.
I mean,
I don't need anything fancy.
what do you expect? I mean,
No, I'm just giving him a hard time. No, I love him. I love him.
I don't
you know
need
what,
anything
man?
fancy.
That's
I
a
am
basic
loving
fit.
this. I am loving this because it's been a while since there's been a game that most of us are playing like at the same time. So this is kind of cool. But I'm just telling you, man, just roll in the river a little bit. It's not gonna kill you.
Actually, it's the springs. The springs will basically will clean you up. Once you go in the spring,
But you're
all
not
of the
wearing
mud,
clothes
all
in
of the
the
blood
spring, man.
will be off of you. Say it again.
You're not wearing clothes in the springs. That's the problem.
Well, but once you come out, your clothes are washed. So
Video
basically,
game.
not
Yeah, but
only are
he's
you washing
telling
your
you, you don't
body,
gotta-
you're washing your
but look,
clothes.
He's trying to tell you though, right next to that river, you ain't gotta go all the way to Springs. Just roll in the river. I want you to look on your theater for the next episode. I want you to do at least one roll in the river,
Yes.
and let's see what happens.
Please do.
I'll try it out. I'll try it out and see what happens. But no, I think it's really fantastic, the combat that the game has. As Anthony began to state, when depending on the type of enemy that you're fighting determines the type of weapon that you're going to utilize. So if you have a enemy that's using a katana, you're going to fight him mano a mano with a katana.
Yeah.
If you have somebody that either has a yari, which is basically a spear, or a long wooden weapon, you can use your dual. There are two weapons you can use for that. You can use your dual swords, your dual katanas for that, or you can go yari to yari.
Yeah.
Use the same type of weapon that they're using. That yari is also good for I forget what they're called, the two sickles
Yeah.
that they use. Kirigama or something like that.
Yeah, something
Kirigami?
like that. I can't.
I can't remember the name of it, but
Jason, you just said it. You just said it earlier.
Oh, he's talking about the two sickles, but the sickle with the
sickle with the
mace
chain.
on the
Never
end.
mind, my
That's the
bad.
Kusurigama.
Okay.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
one works
Yeah.
against
Okay.
shielded enemies
yeah.
really well.
And so you guys have gotten to. You guys have done the portion of the game where you come across what is called the what do you call it, Jason?
The Kusurigama.
The Kusurigama. I've not done that land just yet. I've done the other two.
Gotcha.
Right? So I haven't gotten to that just yet. But yeah, so depending on the type of enemies that you fight determines the type of weapon that you will use in order to fight them.
Right.
Now, in Ghost of Tsushima, the difference between Yotei and Tsushima was in Yotei, you would switch your stance.
Stance, yeah.
It was all about the stances that you would use to fight different types of enemies with different types of weapons. So I thought that was a pretty cool
Yeah, for
difference between the two games, and it was an improvement, in my opinion, of Tsushima.
Yeah.
But just a fantastic game, guys. And the last thing that I want to say is I absolutely love the side missions in this game.
Same here.
The side stories, oh my gosh, they're so filling. You don't have you don't get fetch quests. You get truly meaningful requests that you're getting from some of these citizens throughout Ezo that you're running into, or any of the other lands that you go to. And there have been a few, man, where it really touched me. And I'm not going to spoil that for anybody, because if you play the game, you will experience it at some point as well. But there were a few that I thought were really, really deep. The bounties that you have in the game are really, really fun to do. There's a lot of variety in the enemies that you're fighting. That's the one thing that I've actually enjoyed quite a bit.
Right.
Good point. Good point.
Lots of variety in the enemies that you fight, particularly in the bounties that you pick up, even the bosses that you're going to run into. I've only fought so far 2 bosses. I'm on my 3rd. So I actually have fought the main villain because of the land that I went to. But as Jason stated, it's one of those things where, yeah, you might come across them, but you're not ready to take them on just yet. So they're going to make you fight them a little later, right? But just an overall fantastic game. I've been enjoying it quite thoroughly.
What
Quite a
percentage
bit.
would you say you're done, Tar?
I've played about 25 hours. I'm about 25 hours in.
Yeah, you're into
Yeah,
it.
but the percentage of the game, how much have you done?
I haven't actually looked at that, to be honest with you. I've just been enjoying it so much, man. I've not really been paying much attention to
I got
how far I'm into it. I can tell you this. I've done quite a bit of the first 2 areas that you go to, and not how many more there are. But the one thing that I like about Yotei compared to Tsushima is in Tsushima, I don't think you could, once you went to a new land, you couldn't go back to the previous land that you were in. I think you actually had to finish up that board before you could actually move anywhere. But in Yotei, you have the flexibility of going from one area of the map and then going all the way to another portion of the map that you did earlier in the game. And I really, really love that, because then you can finish up missions that you maybe didn't finish up. in the earlier portion of the map that you were in. There's some springs that I missed that I went back to the original area that I was in that I actually was able to find. So just a really, really full, it feels full. I mean, I'm feeling like I'm really getting my money's worth in this game. So
Yep.
Which one did you get?
what do you mean?
Because I know you got digital. I know Jason. I know you got the
I got physical, yeah.
copy. Which one did you get? The expanded or whatever it's called.
No, I just got the standard version.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't
just
really
got the
much
standard
notice
version.
a difference between them, to be honest with you. I got the expanded or whatever
So
edition it was. I think aside from one fit, I didn't really notice much.
So from what I was told is the horse, when you have the choice of leaving it behind, that horse you get to keep instead of leaving it behind. That's what's
okay.
in the deluxe
Yeah.
edition.
Deluxe. That's what I was.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
into.
There is a horse, and
Yeah.
instead of leaving it behind, you
Yeah, I've
get
had
to
the same
you
one.
get to keep it. Yeah, you get
Oh,
to
I
keep
got
it
you.
when
I
you
got
make
you.
that choice early
Okay.
on in the game.
Last
Now, let me go ahead and
question for you,
move.
Tars.
Oh, no worries, man.
Last question though.
Oh, yeah.
So when you were playing it, is it just because again, like Jason said, this is one of the rare times most of us have been playing the same thing. What was did you have any kind of specific thought process or strategy of how you attacked it? Because I think, at least for me, I feel like this map is not as linear or the missions aren't as linear as Tsushima. I feel like the flow of it, like you said, is much more open.
It's an open world game.
Even though the other one was open, it was harder to get to land back to another land you'd already started. But
It was open, but it was more linear.
yes.
Tsushima was more linear in its
Yeah.
design than
So how
than
did you
Yotei
go
is.
about deciding what you were going to do? Was it just how you felt like at the time, like what kind of mission or area you wanted to tackle? How did you decide what order?
Truthfully,
you were gonna go
for me, it was all about just experiencing as much of the world as I possibly could in the area that I was in. So I did a lot of the side stories. A lot of people just like to main through the main game. But the one thing that I found when I played Tsushima 5 years ago, back in July of 2025, were the side missions and the stories of some of the citizens in the area that you're in is just fascinating. And I found it to be the same with Yotei. And I would run around, do a lot of the side missions. When the bird would catch up to you and would want to fly you somewhere.
The
and-
bird always takes me out.
you know, I'd hit a spring, you know, increase my health a little bit, or you run up to the bamboo, you know, to improve your spirit, you know. So I was doing a lot of the side missions, and I really
Once you were in
enjoyed
an area, you kind of focused on that area rather than
trying to jump
branch
around.
out to. Okay, gotcha.
Trying to jump around. For me, getting to I've only done, seriously, 2 main bosses. I've met up with a third, but as I stated, because you're not supposed to take on the last boss too early, they kind of, make you come back to him later. But I've only done 2 bosses in this world, and there's 6,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's a first one that everybody does because that's what opens up the story.
Right.
And then I did one after him, and then I started to work my way through the third one, but it ended up being the big boss. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm not ready to take him on just yet.
Gotcha.
But there's some other, the third villains that I'm working through right now. I'm in their area trying to do that. But I'm just running around doing all of the missions, doing all of the wolf dens,
Yeah. Yeah.
establishing my relationship with my little wolf buddy.
And that will help you a lot.
Yes,
in
if
the
you've
combat.
not increased your wolf buddy skills, you probably should, because he comes in handy, man. Especially at the last minute.
She.
That's right. When you're ready to go down,
Yeah.
Yeah.
boy, does she save your tail, man.
Oh, lots of times, man.
No joke.
There's been times where I'm about to throw the controller because I'm mad because I just died, and then the wolf will come and save me. I got to go pick it up. I'm like, oh, I'm still playing. So,
All right, guys. Well, let's move it on from Yotei. I'm going to talk a little bit about the next game that I played, which is the same game that James has actually been playing. And I've been thoroughly enjoying this game. I just started, to be honest with you. James, I've only gotten through the opening tutorial for the most part. So I'm in the claptrap portion when you first meet claptrap in the game. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. But once again, I'm just showing you what I'm experiencing in the theater. I've been playing a lot of this in the theater because I have all of these subwoofers in there, and the tactile feel of the guns and, some of the things that you're doing, it just feels good to be in here playing. And really, really just been enjoying this, man, and can't wait to get a little further into the game. And this is me doing one of the first missions, doing the claptrap mission after the introduction, and I'm getting adjusted. It's taken a little time to get adjusted to the shooting and getting back into the world. But I've never really been the biggest Borderlands fan. I played Borderlands 2 because the wife loves the franchise. She played Borderlands 3. I don't know if she finished it or not, but she played quite a bit of it. She played Tiny Tina's Wonderland, right? She really enjoyed that quite a bit too. But I wanted to play Borderlands because one of the guys in the movie group, he games a little bit. And he picked it up and he's been playing. And I think he said he put about maybe 20 hours into it. And he asked me if I wanted to join in with him on it. I told him, yeah, I'll go ahead and check it out. It's been a little while since I played a Borderlands game. I'll definitely jump into it and see what it's all about. And sure enough, man, I'm kind of enjoying my experience, more so because of playing it in this theater. And the audio in the game is really good. I haven't experienced any bugs. That has been a big issue for a lot of people that have been playing this game. I'm playing it on PlayStation, but there have been people that have played it on PC that have been not really enjoying the experience because of how many bugs are in it. I've heard people having some issues on PlayStation and Xbox as well. There was an issue with the frame rate, where the frame rate was a little slow at one point. I don't know if you experienced that, James, during some of the cutscenes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the frame rate was a little jacked up, but the gameplay, I've not experienced any issues with the gameplay. Very early on, we'll see how it actually goes once I get a little further in to playing. But as Anthony said, that milk dud that you see there is smiling on the front. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I thought of when I first saw it was remember the Michael Jordan cologne where it had his head on it. That's what I thought of that's what I thought of first was Michael Jordan cologne bottle.
James, you will
That
never
silhouette.
guess. You will never guess what cologne I'm literally wearing right now.
Wouldn't surprise me,
Nice.
Jason.
Yeah, I got it at Ross, man. They still sell it. So.
I'm gonna have to go look. I haven't seen it in a while.
I think we've hit a new milestone in this show because this is the first time I would have to say in his whole life that Taurus has ever been compared to Michael Jordan.
When you got it, you got it. You just got good taste,
Yeah.
bro. That's all.
Listen,
Right, man.
That's all it is.
the other really cool thing about Borderlands, and probably what I wouldn't say missed the most, but I missed it a lot, is the fact that you can jump in anybody's game and play that part of the story. You're not locked out because you're a lower level. It'll scale to the level. So I'm level 41. If Taurus jumped into my game as a level 2, the enemies scale. So he's still able to play and enjoy the game with me, even though he's a lower level, or vice versa. Or I jump into his game and it'll scale the enemies up for me and keep them at his level.
Oh, I see.
The other really cool thing is too, my friends were a couple, they were playing a lot more than I was. And I was in the beginning like Taurus, and I just jumped in and played their game, and I beat the game with them without ever doing any of the probably 25 missions from the start. The cool thing is when I loaded back into my world, as I was going through any missions that I completed with them, it would be like, hey, do you want to do this mission? Because you've already done it. You don't have to. And it'll skip you and advance you to the next mission, which cuts down on time. You know what I mean? And like a lot of games don't do stuff like that. And I just really thought that was a super neat feature that I didn't have to go back and play through everything on my own campaign for me to get 100% complete.
So let me see if I had this right, James. You're saying that you jumped in with some friends. They were near the end of this game,
Yep.
Borderlands 4. They finished the game. You finished the game with them. And then you jumped back into your game after finishing the game. Didn't that spoil it for you?
No, because with games like this, for me in particular, I'm looking to play the end game more than I am the story, for example. So I want to get to the end as fast as possible because I want to start getting the good gear and, having to worry about what gears affect what and playing the end game content more than, I guess, the story. And I wasn't super lost because it's Borderlands, so the story kind of is what it is. And like I said, I think I played with like 8 hours with them over the course of 2 nights. And when I got back to my game, I was probably only like an hour behind because I did like 3 or 4 missions. It took me like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And then it asked me, hey, do you want to skip? And then like there was one mission that I might have missed like in between playing with them. I did that. And then it was like, you can either keep going or you're done. So then I started going back and working on a lot of the side quests, which to me in this game are a little bit more fun than the main story, just because of all the other additional information that you get along the way. And there's a lot more comedy in them as well with some of the things that they have you do.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Well, that was the playlist. Now what I want to do, guys, is move on to the main topic. So what we're going to talk about this, James, are you going to hang out with us, or did you want to get back to your video game, bro?
No, I'm here. I'm
good?
here.
Okay.
Good.
Got to check. Don't want to keep him when he's
I was
he's got bigger plans.
I was just making a joke. If I'm here, I'm
Hey,
here.
Tars, let's keep an eye on him though, see if he starts doing this.
Oh, that's in the other room. That's in the other room.
All right, guys, give me a second to transition, and we will be ready to roll.
Calling all video game, movie, TV, and home theatre fans. You're listening to the Fun Waste of Time podcast, where we love to talk shop about your favourite hobbies and all the fun ways to waste your day.
All right, guys. So what I wanted to do this episode is talk about how the video game landscape is changing. While traditionally at this point in a video game console's life cycle, console prices will be coming down as the console ages and gaming platforms such as Xbox and PlayStation prepare to launch their next generation hardware within the last few years of the current gen console's life. Well, in 2025, with this current generation of consoles, that former norm or tradition of lowering prices has gone out the window. Due to rising prices in the global economic environment solely because of tariffs imposed on former trade partners to us in the United States, American companies and foreign companies with business ties to the United States have decided to pass those tariff costs on to their consumers and their customers. Sony in 2020, when the PlayStation 5 released here in the US, sold the PlayStation 5 digital version for $400 and the disc version for $500 respectively. In 2025, those same consoles are selling for $450 for the digital version and $550 for the disc version, $50 more than the original price. Whereas in the past, those consoles would have been $50 to $100 cheaper than the original price. Now, Xbox, on the other hand, has taken the price increase for their consoles to an extreme even beyond that of PlayStation. The original Xbox Series X was $300, and the more powerful Series X was $500 when they released in 2020. As of the time of this recording, those same consoles, the Series S is selling for $400, and the Series X is selling for a whopping $650. In addition, Xbox's popular subscription service Game Pass, with various subscription tiers, is raising the price of its most popular and most costly tier, Game Pass Ultimate. Game Pass Ultimate offers day one releases of Xbox Studios' first-party AAA games, as well as really cool smaller titles also. This tier of the service is increasing by 50%, taking the cost of the monthly subscription from $20 to $30 starting this month in October as of the time of the recording in 2025. Now, as Xbox has finally hit its stride providing regular and exciting AAA first-party releases, Microsoft is betting on the strength of its first-party lineup to keep its player base engaged and wanting to continue paying for the service. Just to highlight some of the upcoming AAA releases, here are some of the soon-to-be released first-party and third-party games, with a few smaller titles coming to Game Pass Ultimate over the next year. So, throughout the rest of this year, in 2025, October, November, they're releasing this this Ubisoft Plus Classics catalog with 47 games. So a lot of Ubisoft classic games, like all of the Assassin's Creed games, Prince of Persia, Rayman, so on and so forth. All of those games are going to be there. Double Fine is going to be releasing a game called Keeper coming up later this month. Ninja Gaiden 4 is going to be releasing coming up soon this month. The Outer Worlds is going to be releasing this October as well. And Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is going to be releasing in November on Game Pass. Now, in 2026, some of the bigger titles that are going to be coming out. High on Life 2 is going to be coming out next year. Forza Horizon 6, which is supposed to be taking place in, I think it's Japan this time around. Fable, the new Fable is going to be releasing next year, supposedly. Now, a third-party game that's going to be releasing that I was kind of excited about because I played the second game in this franchise is Resident: A Plague Tale Legacy, right? So, fantastic game. I actually played a Plague Tale Requiem, I think it was called. Great game. There's a 2D 16-bit game coming out that actually looks really, really cool called Replaced. That's going to be coming out next year. Gears of War E-Day is going to be releasing supposedly next year. And although there's been no definitive date, there's been talk about Clockwork Revolution releasing next year as well. And Clockwork Revolution looks like a really cool BioShock-styled game, kind of a cross between BioShock and Dishonored. Looked really, really awesome. And then a smaller title that's coming out that I played the first game and really enjoyed is called Planet of Lana. There's Planet of Lana 2 going to be releasing sometime next year as well. Now, in addition to the console and Game Pass price increases, Microsoft has decided that all Xbox Studios first-party games will no longer be exclusive to Xbox. Xbox is becoming a third-party publisher, releasing all Xbox Studio games on competing platforms like PlayStation and PC. Now, my question for the fellas, and I'm going to start this one out with you, James, is do you feel that due to the more dramatic increase in its console prices and its shifting focus on third-party publishing, Xbox is no longer prioritizing the sale of its Series line of consoles, the S and X? And then, do you feel in the future Xbox will continue to prioritize publishing over hardware production? Think of the everything is an Xbox commercial, right? I don't know if you guys have ever seen that commercial, but you want to think of that when it comes to what Xbox is trying to do with their new marketing strategy. And then the last thing, I'll let you answer those two first, but then another thing I want you guys to think about too is, were you ever or are you currently subscribed to Game Pass Ultimate? Before the recent price increase, Game Pass Ultimate was called the best deal in gaming by fans and gaming enthusiasts. Now with the 50% price increase of the service, if you are subscribed, will you continue to pay the monthly subscription because you do like the games that are coming out on Game Pass Ultimate? Or will you downgrade or cancel your subscription and then just resubscribe when you want to play something that's going to be released? Or are you just planning to buy your games outright?
Holy crap, that's a lot of questions at once.
It is. It is. The first thing that I want you to answer, though, is that first one, James. So do you feel that due to the more drastic increase in console prices and its shifting focus on third-party publishing, Xbox is no longer prioritizing the sale of its Series line of consoles? And then do you think that's going to affect future hardware where they're just going to more focus on publishing than pushing out their hardware? Start there.
So I do think that is because you worded it as the Series consoles, I do think they are shifting to the third party because that's where they're going to generate revenue to make the next one. Like we don't have to sugarcoat that. I do think that the pricing increases as far as the consoles go is truly tariff based. Based on the specifications, and again, I don't know for sure. I'm assuming that they haven't found a way to manufacture it cheaper. And even if they did, the tariffs offset that. And that's why we have what we have. And, as we all know, that's affected almost every industry in our lives, whether it comes to the furniture that you buy, all the way down to the smallest, most minute thing. So I do think the shift is going to be on software and development. because of the tariffs and because we're so late in the life cycle that they're just kind of like, if you want to buy these, go ahead. We're publishing games. We're moving forward. The other one's already in development, whether they're going to admit it or not, because Sony's clearly said that theirs is at this point. So I do think at this moment in time that they are shifting. I don't think in the future, though, that it will be fully games over hardware. I do think that it'll balance back out as far as that goes. And if we're keeping the Game Pass for the separate part, I'll save what I have to say about that after the other boys go and answer the first two questions. Anthony, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you make some good points. It's just, I think it's really hard to know for sure because some of it is the tariff portion of the equation. Because would they still, would there be more prioritization over the hardware and the consoles if it were not for that? That's kind of something that's external to their control. But I think you brought up a good point of because it's so late in the life cycle of this console that they're looking at other possibilities. They're looking at their handheld, and everything says that they're looking at things. But then again, they're looking at having Steam to where you can access games on Steam on there, and from what you hear and everything. So it kind of gives the idea that maybe they are trying to move past not just the series, but perhaps even just redefine how they're making their loot. Maybe they're just trying to diversify and catch more than just the consoles that they create. So I kind of get that, to kind of offset or diversify their portfolio and stuff like that. I will say, as the most novice gamer of the four of us, I think this is problematic timing. Again, because I get that the tariffs is totally not within their control. However, the Game Pass subscription price is 100% within their control. And I can't speak for anybody else here because, like I said, you guys are much more hardcore, and you spend, I'll spend time gaming, but not nearly the time that you guys put into it, or I'm not as diverse as you guys are with what I play. So for you, maybe it is something that is just a speed bump, but I think where it's going to be an issue is for casual gamers like me. The only reason that I play games on an Xbox as opposed to a PlayStation 5 is because of Game Pass, is because it allows me the idea of, hey, you can try it out. I've tried to go back in and, try different games that maybe I normally wouldn't buy. But the price increase and the changes have gotten to the point where I'm just like, I'll just wait until the games go on sale. If I've got to wait a year after the release, then by that time they're already going to hit Black Friday sales on PlayStation, and I'll get them way cheaper than I would have if I had just kept subscribing that whole time. See, because this is the thing is, when it comes to streaming content, Jason and Taurus and I think we've talked about this before in other aspects, is the fact that, we've kind of alluded to the fact that sometimes, whether or not you're gaming, you just don't want the hassle of canceling it, waiting till something else comes out, resubscribing, even though it's super easy on the console to reactivate it if you save your stuff. The point is, nobody does that. Let's be honest. So what I don't understand with this move is people like me, who are the base populace, we're not hardcore gamers. You're alienating us to a large degree, because while I don't play as much as you guys do, or as many different games as you guys do, I kept that Ultimate subscription just because when the whim hit me, I wanted to go in and be able to look. because as somebody who's not as informed as you guys are, it helped me to be able to just turn on the Xbox, go right into Game Pass, look at something, see if it caught my eye. Yeah, look, I mean, if you look at the last 2 games I played, they were over a year old, but that's not the point. The point was I had them at my disposal right away when I was looking for them. And when I wasn't playing them, I never canceled my subscription. But now you've priced me out of the category so high that it makes more sense for me to cancel the subscription, either try to buy it for $20 on Black Friday if I want to try it out, or possibly go to the $14 tier and wait. But I'm not going to just sit there and pump in that $14, $15 a month when it's not the level I was getting. So we've seen streamers that have increased their rates to somewhat, but there's always, or not always, there's usually some quid pro quo, something that they're bringing into you, like, hey, we're going to offer you this additional feature, this additional content based on your increased prices. This is just taking me and telling me, hey, give me $10 more a month for what you already have.
Right, but you know me, I'm not like the biggest Xbox supporter in the world. Mm-hmm. Oddly enough, 30 times 12 is $360 a year. So you're roughly looking, if a game's $60, that's 6 new games a year.
But see, what you're doing there is you're taking that. So that made sense with the $20 now. But remember, you're waiting now a year. So these games are not going to be $60.
You're correct.
You're going to have Black Friday sales.
Right, but just let me finish. Go ahead. So that's 6 new games a year. From the list of that 13, I would say that the average person, and I'm going to go low, is at 3 games. Okay? So that's half. All right? So there's 10 more games from that list that you could try for free. And even if you only like 1.5 of them, there still is value for the average person with that $10 increase.
But the problem is you're using $60 as the basis of the price of the game, where I'm telling you, with the amount of time that you're waiting now for that mid-tier, or actually for that, you could, why not just wait?
I don't have the list in front of me.
It's not how many people do you
think? How many people do you think buy Call of Duty? So we'll just start just at Call of Duty alone. Mm-hmm. That's on that list. All right, that even that one game alone. That's the thing. Look, I'm not happy about the price increase either. I currently have too many hobbies and too many fun wastes of time at this point, where to me it's making me consider getting rid of it. My issue with it, though, more than anything, is I thought it's bad timing and poor timing on their part. Obviously,
agreed.
Our wallets are probably thinner than they've been in a long time. So it was very, very poor timing on their part and a little bit of bad etiquette when you're a billion-dollar company. Yeah. That we can all agree on. But you can't tell me that you can't find that's just 13 games that he gave you. That's not counting everything else that's already on there, that you can't find the value in that. Because whether it's Disney Plus, Netflix, anything else, it is on par with those pricing. My Netflix is $28 or $32 a month. I can tell you right now, I'll get more out of that than I will the 4 shows that I'm going to watch on Netflix that I won't cancel because I just won't.
See, I disagree.
It's a very delicate balance. I understand where you're coming from in particular, and then of course, like there's, after all the bad backlash, you're getting these studies now that are popping up out of nowhere that the average gamer only buys 2 games a year. I just named 4 that I bought in the past 4 months, and one of them I told you I threw $150 in the garbage. $150 is half the price of Game Pass.
For guys like you, again, who can find those 13 games that they're interested in,
I'm not going
who do play that much, I get it. Maybe it's not as much of an increase. I don't think the hardcore gamers, I mean, they're not going to like it, but I think they'll be less impacted. What I'm saying is the casual gamer like me who was subscribing before, that's who you're alienating more than anyone, because do you think I've looked at and found 13 games this year
Absolutely
on
not.
Xbox Game Pass that I wanted to play? Absolutely not. I have not.
But the other thing is, too, you have both. So you have a choice.
I do. But that's what I'm saying.
And like, that's the same thing with me right now. Like, I have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's a little bit different for me, too, because I have my daughter. And because I was just going to cancel it. And then I'm like, well, there's like 6 games on there that she has on Game Pass that she plays. So I'm like, well, I guess I kind of can't. So, like, I'm kind of a little, like, stuck. I'm like, I could just maybe flip this into myself getting a PlayStation Pro. I'll give her my PlayStation. I just spent $20 for Minecraft on PlayStation because that's the game that we all play together. There's still a lot of value there at that price for someone for the hardcore gamer. I just think there was a lot of people that are casual gamers that was like, that's way too much, when it's really not, depending on how much you do actually play. If anything, I would say before, and again, like, I'm probably the farthest thing from an Xbox supporter. Mine collects dust unless my daughter wants to play Minecraft. It was probably at a bargain before, to be honest with you. The production costs for Call of Duty alone is 1 million Game Pass memberships. So
I'm going to jump in real quick, and I just want to share this information about Call of Duty. They just came out recently. There was a story that just came out recently that Xbox, based on putting Call of Duty on Game Pass, lost $300 million. Because what happened were those that would have purchased Call of Duty day one went on Game Pass and just played it there. Now, whether the subscription numbers for Game Pass increased based on that, that's not information that Xbox is sharing with everyone.
And they won't.
And you're right, they more than likely won't.
They only share the losses.
But they did state that, this article, I should say, did state that $300 million was lost based on Call of Duty being on Game Pass.
Yeah, I get that. But I think, again, when you're looking at numbers like that, the issue I have with quotes like that is it doesn't take into account those gamers that are playing it day one, but you're just taking the assumption that just because I played it because it was day one on Game Pass means I was going to buy it.
Yeah.
There's no conclusive data that proves that.
Right.
What percentage of those people that access that game? I may play it on Game Pass because it is on day one, because it is on Game Pass. I've already got a subscription, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go out and pay the $70 day one.
Gotcha.
That's the only thing I have with that. But Jason, I want to hear what your
I was just going to say, let's move on to Jason and see what Jason has to share. So, Jason, the question starting out is, do you feel that with the price increase of their consoles, right? I mean, it drastically increased, and they're shifting focus on third-party publishing. Do you think they're prioritizing publishing more than their actual consoles now? And do you think that'll be something they'll probably do in the future?
Right. And well, first off, guys, don't feel bad about going long because you actually hit on most of the points I was going to make. So it's all good. As far as Microsoft maybe focusing more on the publishing, it seems to me that if Microsoft was going to give up on Xbox, they'd have done it between 2001 and 2013 when Xbox never turned a profit the entire time. They would have given up on it then. I mean, it's something that they've always stuck with, and even now that they have been turning a profit, it's been a very normal thing throughout all of video game history to put out a console at a loss so you can make up for that with the software because you get the royalties. And it's funny, I very rarely do I have to do a lot of research before we discuss a topic on the show, but I had to this time because I just don't know how business works, man. And so I had to ask ChatGPT, how does Microsoft make money on software? So yeah, royalties, things like that, things that everyone else knew and I didn't. So I apologize for my ignorance there. But PlayStation was a perfect example. The very first PlayStation that came out, they sold that at a loss. PlayStation 3, they definitely sold at a loss because that thing was as expensive back in 2005 as the Series X is turning out to be now. But I think Anthony kind of hit it on the head where I think they're just diversifying their investments, which is smart. It's just what companies do to stay alive. Obviously, Microsoft has myriad other business ventures that they can make money on. But Xbox is popular. I mean, it's not my favorite thing. I typically get on the PlayStation a lot more, just like James was saying. But I don't think it's going to go away. If that's the question you were asking. I hope I am addressing what you wanted me to. But now, as for Game Pass itself, full disclosure, I actually canceled Game Pass about a year ago. And this is a collector thing. It's just because I like to own stuff. I like something that I can hold in my hand. And with Game Pass, I realized when I was looking at a way to, because like James was saying, everything's more expensive now. Our wallets are stretched. I was looking for ways to bring my expenses down a little bit. And so I looked at Game Pass, which was $20 a month at that time, and realized that there was a single game in the entire year, 2024, that I played on Game Pass. That was Indiana Jones. So I'm not good at math, but I'm good enough to know that I spent several $100s on Indiana Jones, a game that I did not particularly like. And I was like, Game Pass has got to go. So what are the chances of me paying an extra $10 a month now?
None.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolute zero. So I understand why people are upset about it. The minute it was announced, my Facebook feed was full of angry people just venting to the world that they don't like Game Pass anymore, and I don't blame them. The increase in the console prices, however, I didn't hear anybody complain about, and here's the reason. We already own those things. It's hard for me to get mad about that. But going back to what Anthony said, back in 1994, if a kid didn't already own a Sega Genesis that came out in 1989, you could get the Genesis 2, a more compact version that was $100 cheaper, and parents would get that for their kids for Christmas. The PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X have been out for half a decade now. Okay? No parent is going to get that for their kid as a surprise for Christmas when the price has just increased from what it was half a decade ago. So casual gamers, like those little kids, they're not going to get into gaming. I mean, basically, unless we got kids playing on mobile phones now, which disgusts me. I'm sorry, dude. Play some real video games, kids. But that might be the only gaming they're exposed to now, and so that might be a weird reason for me to be upset about it, even though I already own these consoles. But yeah, do it for the children, man. Lower that price.
Right.
But yeah, I think really you guys hit all the nails on their heads, man. Serious. And I think us being the grown-ups that we are, we're not getting too vindictive about it. But I can still be upset on others' behalf, and so I am. Now, Taurus, the guy that never gets upset, let's see what he has to say.
Well, I think that they are trying to expand their portfolio. That's what I think is happening. That's what that Everything is an Xbox marketing campaign was all about. Jason, you hit the nail on the head, and it's not just with older consoles, even more recent consoles. These companies, these gaming platforms lose money putting out these consoles because all of the components that they're putting together, they end up either just breaking even or losing money when it comes to the actual console industry, the hardware industry. And I think that Satya Nadella, based on that very big purchase that they made with Activision, he's not trying to lose any more money.
Yeah.
I think he's had enough of that. So the price increase has a lot to do with the tariffs, as we all know. But Microsoft took it to a whole other extreme. PlayStation just raised their prices by $50.
Yeah.
Microsoft raised their Series X console $150. Not only was it $150 and it turned a lot of people off, it turned Costco off. I don't know if you guys have heard.
Oh, really?
But Costco has basically decided to stop selling Xboxes based on that.
Oh man.
So it was not well received, the console price increase that they actually pushed through. And what made it even worse is they did 2 increases within a year, right? So first, earlier in the year, they raised the price from $499 to $599, $600. Then later this year, a couple months ago, they raised it again another $50 to $650. So it did not go well in the gaming industry, and it did not go well in the business community that sells that product as well, I think. I do believe that they're focusing more on being third-party publishers. I think that's where they feel their money is going to be, because that's the only reason they're basically selling hardware, so that they can make those sales when it comes to their software, right? Getting those royalties on the games that they're actually putting out. So I do feel that while they will still, I believe, be a Xbox next iteration or next generation box, because they want to make sure that their games play a certain way, right? And the only way that you can make sure that happens is if you actually have the hardware for it. But I do believe that that is not going to be the priority, because now they've got all of these other platforms that they can put their games on, because they're third-party publishing now. There really are no Xbox exclusives anymore.
Yeah.
Right? They're all going to PlayStation. They're going to PC. So I do believe that hardware is not a priority for them much anymore, although they will continue to do it. But third-party publishing is, because they got to get that Call of Duty money, right?
Well, they already got that Call of Duty money back, because Forza Horizon 3 was the #1 selling game on PS5 for like a month straight.
Well, the Forza Horizon is a fantastic game, but it ain't no Call of Duty. It ain't pulling in.
But that's still revenue on a game.
It ain't pulling in $300 million to make up for the money that they lost on Call of Duty.
It's still that's not. I'm not even counting Gears of War, because Gears of War just came to PlayStation 2 not too long ago. Whatever one it was, I don't play Gears of War, so I don't know. So it's that 300 million's a little jaded, because the games that they have brought over to PlayStation, usually at least for that first week, they've been #1 in the store.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. That's one of the reasons why they wanted to be a third-party publisher. Absolutely.
And I thought it was great that they did that.
Yeah, and that's a part of them being a third-party publisher. That was Satya Nadella and the Microsoft leadership, not the Xbox leadership, but what the Microsoft leadership wanted to do to make sure that they were expanding their portfolio and making back some of that money that they paid for Activision.
And then not only that, they sold it at full bread. It was $60 and $100 if you wanted the deluxe. There was no price decrease, even though the game has been out for quite some time now.
Yeah. But when it comes to Call of Duty, the reason they're trying to raise the price $30, 50% from 20 to 30 is because of the situation that happened with Call of Duty. Because Call of Duty is their cash cow, right? They didn't pay $67 billion to lose $300 million on Call of Duty.
Yeah, that is true.
You know,
like I said, I think sometime with certain generations, a lot of it's like just knee jerk. I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, $10, nah. And then when I thought about it, I'm like, 50% does sound like a lot. But then when you look at what you're getting for it, I still think it's a very good value in gaming.
So here's the thing, though, James. I'll make the argument again. I don't think it's knee-jerk. I think when you're doing a 50% increase and you're not offering anything new, if I came and told you that your car payment is now double and it ain't getting any newer, you're not going to like it.
That's not a fair comparison, because a car depreciates. What they're giving you every year.
So you don't think games
games
depreciate?
They do.
Games depreciate over time.
You're correct. They do.
They're
You're
never
not wrong.
as high a value.
You're not
wrong. So a game
wrong.
Call of Duty does not maintain its value through the life of its
Call of Duty doesn't, but there's other
existence.
games that are following that. And there are other games that are before that too as well.
Now,
I'm just saying with the increase, I think again there's going to have to be, and I'm not. You guys know the numbers. You guys understand the industry better than I do. I just know that there's a question you're going to have to ask yourself, or Xbox is going to have to ask himself: is it better to get that 50% increase and lose your casual gamers who are leaving their subscriptions on from month to month? Like I said, like they may not be accessing it because you had it at a price point that was a little bit more friendly. Or is it better to cut it down, lose that subscription, and get that increased price from a smaller group of people? I don't know that answer. I'm just saying, to me, it doesn't seem like good business to do it that drastically.
Well, let me say this. There is a theory going around where Xbox increased the price of Game Pass Ultimate so that only the hardcore folks that want to play will pay for that. And then those that actually want to buy their games will, then now you have the option of being able to buy those games. Maybe they can make more money if they increase the price of Game Pass, get rid of those folks that actually don't want it at that level, maybe have them pay for the premium service, the $15 Game Pass service, and then just have them buy their games from there on out, right? So there are those that actually are arguing that. Now, the one thing that I do want to state, let me say this real quick. The one thing I do want to say, Microsoft did state they will be, although they will be increasing the price of the subscription, the Ultimate subscription service, 50% from $20 to $30, they did put out something, and I'm showing it right here on screen, where they will now have over 75 day one games a year for those who continue to subscribe to the Game Pass Ultimate subscription service. So it's jumping 50% from, say, 30 to 35 day one releases to supposedly 75 plus. How they're calculating that, what games they're talking about, and
Tetris counts.
Who knows?
Hey, man, I love Tetris. Don't even go there.
I do too.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Who knows? But they are basically stating that they're trying to give you more for that increase as well. So
we could just chalk it up that it ain't for Anthony, and that's all right.
For real. But here's the thing, too, guys. I'm going to close with this, and then we can move it on. We're already at an hour and a half. I just want to state that for me personally, I will more than likely hold on to my Ultimate subscription. The reason for that is because there are times when I do jump on Xbox to play something that they put out. There are games in my back catalog that I've not touched that I really want to go back and play. Yep. I haven't really touched the Indiana Jones game. There's that game that takes place in the Deep South. I can't think of the name of it right now. There's that one that I wanted to play. There's quite a few in their back catalog that were day one releases back in the day they've come out with that I've just not had the time to get around to play. So for that reason, I will be holding on to it, at least for a little while longer, to see how I feel about the service as the months go on. If I feel as though I'm not playing it enough, I'll probably drop it to the middle tier, the premium $15 tier, and just buy any games that I want to purchase from there. Or maybe I'll just resubscribe to Ultimate when something comes out that I want to play, right? So you do have that option as well. They've not blocked you from doing that just yet. So that is an option for you too. But that was the video game discussion, guys. I want to thank you guys for all of the fantastic comments that you guys shared, and you guys had some great opinions on the subject. I do appreciate that. All right, well, let's go ahead and move it on to movies and TV. We're just going to do a brief overview of what we've been watching over the last month. We're already at an hour and a half. I don't want to take the show on too long. So we'll just briefly share what we've been watching, and we'll move it on to open forum and close it out from there.
Movies and TV. In a world where movies and TV are on the same level playing field, what are you watching? The Fun Waste of Time Podcast.
Well, all right. I've not started a segment with our good buddy Jason just yet. So let's move it on to Jason. Jason, what have you been watching over the last few weeks, my good bud?
Indeed, my friend. Let's get Jason out the way so we can get to some interesting conversation.
No, you always you always bring the interesting conversations, Jay.
Well, not this time.
Here's why.
Oh no. Okay. So, as people that have been listening to this podcast for the last few years know, I am the reality TV guy. Now, I avoid discussing reality TV on this show for several reasons. One being that I'm a little embarrassed about it. Another being that it's just not that interesting to people. But during the periods between shows when I don't watch anything of substance, I gotta go back to my old master, the 90 Day Fiancé franchise. The last couple months, there have been 3 spin-offs of this show. Now, I did not know this, actually, until I read an article on it. 90 Day Fiancé is the most watched show on cable TV, period. Like, I had no clue. No clue. And so, TLC knows what they're doing with all these spin-offs. The one you're seeing right here in the B-roll that Taurus has up is 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way. So some genius at TLC said, you know what we should do? Instead of a foreigner coming to the United States, let's have an American go to a foreign country to marry someone. Absolute genius, guys. Thank you so much. The thing is, though, all of these shows have a pretty common theme. So you've got The Other Way, and you've got Happily Ever After, where it goes back to other couples that have been on the show before. And then you've got 90 Day Fiancé UK, which I do not watch because it's just too freaking much. Even I can get 90 Day Fiancé'd out. So I'm not doing that. The UK, maybe if I get furloughed again, I'll revisit the UK one. But as you can see, this is just a cringe fest of epic proportions. And there's something about, you know, the term I've heard used, and it's perfect, is I, along with a lot, and I'm talking millions of other people, do what's called hate watching this show. All right? Now, there are so many people, there are very few characters on any season of this show that you will actually like. These people, it is a pleasure to watch them destroy their lives. Oh this gosh. Conga line of freaks. You just want them to fail, you know? And so, I know it's a popular show already. I avoid suggesting watching this or any of the other reality slop that I've been consuming over the past 2 decades. But if you want to feel good about your life, by all means,
oh my gosh,
give this franchise a shot, okay, guys? Because you're gonna feel wonderful afterward. All right. So that's been it for me in the last 2 weeks, my brothers. I hope James has something better for us. What's up, James?
Only just a tad better, man. Sometimes I feel like if I have to follow you, I'm just gonna talk about the stuff that everybody else watches. So like, what true value am I adding? I mean, at least with your list, like it's fresh, it's new, and we always get a very good insight on the world of reality television, and I do appreciate it, and it's good comic relief. For me, the one show that I probably like the most, Alien Earth, I should say, on Hulu. Very, very well done. I thought it did start a little slow, but it really picked up, and I thought it ended nicely. I liked the world that they built and the what if of it, of aliens coming to Earth. Super, super cool, awesome sci-fi. It did kind of, to me, have like a little bit of an old school vibe. Like, for as much as it's, set in the future, it still felt like it was set when the Alien movies came out, if that makes sense, as far as the technology goes. And I thought that was pretty unique that they were able to keep it relevant to the movies and the time period that the movies came out.
That's not the right film.
No, that's not the right one. That's Gen Z. I watched that too. Gen Z season 2. That's another one. Really, really enjoyed that. I think with the way that it's going, it seems like they're leaning to tie it into The Boys perfectly. And I really, really, after it starting kind of slow and wondering how they were going to tie everything together, definitely done a good job with that. I did watch Wednesday as well and finish that up. Not too high, not too low on that one. It was a good story. I don't want to say they're running out of ideas, but it just kind of felt like they could have did a little bit more with it for a second season. It kind of just felt like it ran parallel. Like they didn't really like step their game up, but I don't think they really like lost ground either. Then Peacemaker season 1's been out for a really long time. I never really sat down to watch it. I was bored and I watched it. I enjoyed it way more than I thought I was going to. It was really, really good. It was funny. I don't think John Cena's that great of an actor, and season 1 didn't change my opinion on that. Season 2 has changed my opinion on that, very much so. It was funny and serious. I thought they addressed a lot of the stuff that they poked fun of pretty well in season 2. I haven't watched the season finale yet, but I really liked how they tied it into the new universe in a fun way. And I actually like the character a lot more on his own than from the Suicide Squad movies. So that was pretty good as well. I did enjoy it. I did like the couple of opportunities, as you can see there, that they tied in stuff from Superman. Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool as well. And yeah, it's fun. I'm not a huge comedy guy. There was a lot of parts, like I said, that I didn't really find John Cena funny in the first one, just because it's him, more about him than anything, than like bad writing. But I thought he's done a really good job acting in the second season, and I really did enjoy it. What you been watching, Anthony?
So, man, I'm going to try to talk really fast to get all my stuff in here. The biggest thing is, as I alluded to, was Tron Ares that I checked out last night. I've been loving the Tron franchise since the 80s, man. I was on board as a kid, had the poster right up next to Star Wars.
Nice.
That's to give you some background, because I don't have a lot of great stuff to say about Tron Ares, but I want you to see the lens that I'm coming from to see if that makes any difference to you or not. So the best way I can sum up this movie is it was kind of like when you hear one of your favorite songs or one of your favorite bands, but the music is by a cover band. It's got elements of what you love, but it's not what you love. That's the best way I can equate how I felt about this movie. It's got elements of the Tron IP in it, but it just didn't feel like Tron. I'm going to start off with a couple pros first. It had some awesome visuals. It did. Can't take anything away from it. The music, again, I love Nine Inch Nails. You know, I'm a kid of the 2000s as far as music. When I first heard that Nine Inch Nails was going to do it, I was like, I don't know that it's going to fit as well as what Daft Punk did with Legacy. But after watching the movie and hearing the music, I think it was actually a good choice, because it was a way that fit this film, that fit this story, that fit this narrative. Trent Reznor did a great job setting the tone apart from the previous movie, which I don't think is one of the reasons that I didn't think it was as good as the previous movie. But the music was definitely a positive. Greta Lee, I've never seen her before, but I thought she did a great job holding her own as a lead. She brought heart and some good story and relatability to the characters. When you're dealing with programs, you need that way in to relate to. I thought she was great at that. What they tried to do, so Jared Leto, again, he was a questionable choice in my opinion due to his real world stuff, not him as an actor, but he did okay. He did a better job than I expected in the role. He didn't distract too much from it, despite his real world stuff. Now for the cons, the story was kind of mid to me. They mentioned Tron Legacy, but it never connects it. It doesn't do a good enough job of connecting or even answering what happened to characters that you cared about. One thing that Legacy did a great job of is doing that requel formula, as we learned about in Scream, which is like a reboot and a sequel all together, where you pay homage to the original series and you include those characters and you naturally progress from where you were to where you are. This story doesn't do that. It acknowledges that these characters existed. It acknowledges some of the events in the past, but that's all it does. It severely underutilizes Jeff Bridges. You have no idea what happened to Sam or Cora in here. It used and which is unfortunate because the director Joachim Roning, I know I probably butchered his name, but he's actually a fan of the Tron series and the original, and I think he tried to integrate some of the visuals from the 82 Tron. The problem was it just felt misplaced, and it just, I don't know, there was no connection. There was no connecting tissue. It was just, hey, remember this?
I noticed that in the trailer. It did look out of place. That's the perfect way to describe it. Yeah,
it did. And the reason for Ares to be there and the connection to it, there's no development of that idea. It just felt rushed. The dialogue. One of the things I love about Tron Legacy is the writing is just so good. Even the original, you've got memorable lines, like everybody who's a Tron fan remembers I fight for the user. Legacy, the old man is knocking on the sky and listening to the sound. Or even Sam, you're messing with my Zan thing. I couldn't repeat a single line in this movie. And I thought it was just weird. There's just oddly placed things there. Like Ares is a big Depeche Mode fan. No idea why. No, I never goes into it, never gives you any kind of feeling or development of why this character loves Depeche Mode from the 80s. Disney really wrecked this concept. It was an actual interesting concept that started from Legacy, but what this movie was missing to make it work was Joseph Kosinski, who directed Top Gun Maverick. He directed F1. He actually directed Legacy, and he was on board and he was ready, but Disney, again, in their typical Disney fashion, just waited too long and he had to move on from it. There's just so many story gaps for people who've seen. I'm telling you, Legacy is on repeat in my house, and there's just so many things that you can say that does not line up to what this story tried to do. Evan Peters, who most people remember as Quicksilver, from the X-Men series, he was a functional villain, but I would have much preferred, they laid the groundwork for actual Cillian Murphy in Legacy. He played Edward Dillinger rather than Julian Dillinger. And in the 5 to 8 minutes that he was on the screen, to me, he was much more captivating and interesting than Evan Peters was as Julian Dillinger. So I really wish they would have found a way to at least bring Cillian Murphy back as Edward Dillinger. But those are my thoughts. It wasn't don't get me wrong, it's not a bad movie per se. I will just say that if you're a huge fan of the Tron series, it's not going to feel like Tron to you, at least in my opinion. The other thing I've been watching, just like James said, Peacemaker Season 2, it was okay. It's a little too raunchy at times for me, for unnecessary. I don't mind. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like a kindergarten teacher, but it was raunchy, I think, just to be raunchy. It was it didn't serve any purpose. I thought the retconning of the Justice League at the beginning of the season was weird. Either just don't acknowledge it. Just start off fresh if that's what you're going to do. But there's no need to acknowledge it. The finale, there was a lot of long musical sequences that we didn't need. But there was a lot of details that we did need that was left out. And I felt like
Leave it there, Anthony. We don't want to spoil anything for those that haven't
I'm not.
watched
It's
it.
not details. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, in general, there's plot devices that never paid off, that weren't developed because James Gunn decided to play 80s hairband music for about 15 to 20 minutes, and it didn't move the story along at all. So if you're not familiar with Checkmate or the Black Queen, because you've never read the comic books, he did you no favors by playing Poison or whoever that was in
Nelson.
there. Nelson, whatever. John Cena, it was weird to me because in season 1 he was pretty funny. He was way too serious and bland in this season for me. They took all his comedic stuff away from him, I feel like. Now, on the positive side, they did give it to Freddie Stroma's Vigilante and Steve Aggie's Economos, along with Tim Meadows, who played Agent Fleury. They did the heavy lifting in the comedy department. So, especially when they had that discussion about the plural of Pokemon. So I thought that was actually some good dialogue that James Gunn wrote. The problem with him that I have with him sometimes is, again, there's so many things that were left out narratively because of timing, of bad pacing. I just wish that, and they really advertised, the main reason I watched this was because they advertised, hey, you absolutely should watch this to understand what's going to happen in DCU. If you're not real, if that's the only reason you're going to watch it, you really don't have to watch it. It's not that ground changing. Trust me. I mean, I kind of understand where they're going, but you'll get caught up. And I just didn't like the way they ended the series. Well, for now. We don't know if it's coming back eventually, but lastly, Slow Horses Season 5, which I really love this series on Apple TV. Unfortunately, the premiere has a departure of one of the beloved characters that I like. It was abrupt and mishandled. I'm hoping they return.
Did you see towards his face? Damn, man.
What? It's in the
I've been
first
waiting to
episode.
watch the series until it's done, man. I don't want to hear that.
Well, who's leaving? Oh, you don't know who it is. That's your fault. Anyway.
Oh, man. Now I got to figure out who's going to be leaving on. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, you want me to tell you? I'll tell you right now. No, I'm just
dude,
kidding.
you just spoiled it for me, man.
Well, the way it
I'm
happens
done with
is
the
not
show
good
now.
either. However, I will say that the season does start with a compelling storyline. It's got some interesting action that happens. Gary Oldman's Lamb, he has some hilarious dialogue, and they've just done a great job of just working even more of that in. I understand now why he got those. He was deserving of the BAFTA, Golden Globes, and the Primetime Emmy nominations that he got. He's just just awesome this season. You'll also notice a familiar face if you're an Apple TV viewer. I won't tell you who it is, but he makes a appearance in the premiere. And so far, like I said, the season's off to a great start. Sorry about that, buddy.
Oh, man.
So the person that left the show is... No.
It's all good. I'm waiting until there's at least 4 or 5 episodes. Well, there's only 6 episodes in a season typically, so
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for another episode or 2 before I start watching it. Fantastic, guys. Anthony, you're watching some great stuff. Jason, James. Jason, I actually had to cover my eyes on some of those 90 Day Fiancé scenes.
As do I, man. The fast forward button is your friend.
The pole
in that show.
dancing scene.
Hey,
Oh,
but he
Lord.
watches Peacemaker. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't line up.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, so some of the things that I've actually been watching, guys. There was a movie that came out on Apple TV, and it stars one of my favorite actors. And I really do like a lot of the stuff that he does. He doesn't really do a whole lot these days, so he's been very selective in the things that he's been choosing to do. But the Lost Bus is the movie that's on Apple TV. It's an Apple TV exclusive, and it's actually pretty darn good, man. I had a fantastic time watching it. Very compelling character that he played. America Ferrera's in it, as you can see. their relationship as they go through the experience that they're trying to work through was really interesting. And, seeing how they work together to get through the issues that they had with the children they were dealing with that were obviously on the bus. I'm not spoiling anything. It's called the Lost Bus, and it's a yellow bus, right?
Wait, the bus is yellow?
You just
Oh,
spoiled
come
it,
on.
man.
Now forget it.
I'm sorry, guys. You don't
I'm
need
not
to watch it
watching
now. I didn't spoil the whole thing. But no, it was a really fantastic film, man. And Matthew McConaughey just shows why he's a fantastic actor. I really do like a lot of the work that he does. But it was a really good movie. If you've not had the opportunity to see it, you definitely should check it out. It is a great home theater experience for those that have home theaters. The bass is cracking, man. The fire scenes, the scenes of all of the cars that have to go through the fire and trees being knocked down, you will get some, maybe not necessarily infrasonic bass, but it is very tactile and very deep bass. There's some good mid bass in here too. So definitely check it out if you've not seen it and it's something that you think you'd be interested in seeing.
Is this a regular size bus or a bus that like Anthony used to ride, a short one?
It's actually a longer bus.
Okay.
But, it would have been cool if they did the short bus and had somebody represent Anthony on there.
Well, I could have found out it was yellow till you spoiled it.
Exactly.
Another thing that I've been watching is Foundation Season 3. Foundation Season 3 has been freaking fantastic. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And if you've not watched this show, you should definitely watch it from the first season. The first season, it was kind of a slow burn, but the cool thing about it is there's a really, really good story to it and some very fantastic character development in it. And if you like sci-fi, if you like high fantasy sci-fi, this is going to be right up your alley because it is done extremely well. It's done just as well as The Expanse, which is one of my favorite all-time sci-fi shows. And the Foundation is quickly climbing up that ladder to be somewhere in the top 5. But if you've not watched Foundation, you definitely should check it out.
While I liked this season very, very much, I didn't care for the way that this one ended.
I like the way that it ended. That's all I'm going to say. That's all
I knew the little twist at the end. I saw that, and I called it like 3 episodes before, but I was hoping that I wasn't right.
That's all I want to say. I got you. I understand, James. And then the last thing that I want to share that I've been watching. You guys know that I love kaiju.
Oh, yeah.
Big kaiju fan. And I like anime. And, I've been on this anime kick lately, watching a couple of new anime shows that have come out this summer and have been thoroughly enjoying those. This is one of them that released a little earlier that I've been enjoying quite a bit too. This is Kaiju number 8. And let me tell you, for an animated show, the audio in this is freaking fantastic, man. You get a lot of deep tactile bass in this animated show. It's funny because when I was playing the trailer, recording this up in my theater, I didn't realize that I had the I accidentally did that. I didn't realize that I had the volume turned up to about -20 on my my audio processor, and man, my room was going crazy, boy. With all of the shaking going on. But it's a really fun show. If you're in anime, you like kaiju, you like Godzilla, you like Kong, you like all of that, this is one that I think you will enjoy as well. And for those of you, as I stated, that have a home theater, this is going to be a fantastic home theater experience for you. But all right, guys, that is pretty much the majority of the show. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move it on to open forum. There was one last thing that I wanted to discuss, but because we're at 2 hours, I'm just going to put that off and maybe we'll have time to discuss it on the next episode. But I want to close out with open forum. Now, let's share what the guys want to say, or want to share with the audience. Let's start with James on this one. James, do you have anything for open forum?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Buccaneers home game this week. I've got to do it numerous times being a season ticket member, and that's going on the pirate ship in the stadium for the pregame. It's all you can eat, all you can drink. Fun little hour party before the game starts. But I'm bringing a local who's never been before. And he's been a Buccaneers fan since he was a kid. And I'm really looking forward to having that experience and sharing that experience with him because it's one thing to like go to a game, but obviously like our pirate ship in the stadium is very unique. And I think it's going to be a really fun experience for him to be up there because, they fire the cannons and all that while you're up there. And should be a really good time. And hopefully we beat the 49ers.
Fantastic.
What do you got going, Anthony?
Let's move it on to Jason before we get to Anthony. Jason, what do you have anything open for him this episode, buddy?
Just one thing, man. And, I know that I contacted you guys over text message a few days ago. And as many of you know, at the time of this recording, the federal government is currently shut down. And those of us who work for the federal government as civilians, many of us were actually furloughed. So we're home and not working. Well, I wanted to take advantage of that time. So I decided to clean out a couple of my game room closets. Now, these closets I've been dreading for the better part of a decade now. They were really, really bad. I filled them up basically as soon as I moved into this house. Now, that was about 9 years ago. I get to working on this closet, which took me about 9 hours, by the way. And I knew that the previous owner had left a few things in the house, including this closet, which I just threw my own stuff on top of. And so I finally get to the back of the closet, and I find this cardboard tube. And I'm like, clearly it's to contain posters. So I open it up out of curiosity, and there are 5 posters in there. They are the full-size theatrical posters that you see outside of movie theaters in the frames out there for Superman, Superman 2, Superman 3, Superman 4, and Superman Returns. They have been in a closet in my house for almost a decade, and I never, for some reason, never stopped to think, open up this tube and see what's in it. And so it was, clearly the posters have been used. There's a little bit of chipping around the edges and stuff like that. But I don't know if they're original. And to make another reality TV reference, without me going on Pawn Stars or something, I don't know how I could ever find out if they were actually original. But they are very cool to have, and I got to figure out what I'm going to do with them. I'd love to frame them up, but these are huge. These are big posters. So we'll see. I will maybe update you guys on what happened to it. But yeah, there's some pictures that Torx has on the B-roll. As I told the guys in my text message, just ignore my Kazam lunchbox down there on the bottom that's keeping it from rolling up. But they're really cool, man. They're painted. These aren't photographs. These are actual paintings. Nice. Superman 4, as bad as that movie may have been, it's still kind of cool to have that poster. So the one with Richard Pryor just cracks me up, dude. It's funny because that's a movie. When I was a little kid, I refused to watch Superman 3 because I knew that Superman lost his powers in that movie, and I hated that. I refused to watch it. And I remember my parents watching it on British TV when we lived in England, and I remember crying. Keep in mind, I was like 4, but I remember crying when they were going to watch that movie because I hated the idea of Superman losing his powers. Anyway, I've gone too long on this. Treasure hunts still occur in the world, and that was one of them. I was very excited to find those. If I have an entire hallway in my basement with no decoration, so if I can get these framed cheaply and my wife approves, that's a big maybe. But if she approves, maybe I'll line my empty hallway with that. So yeah,
nice.
Maybe Tars can frame that email from General O'Donnell.
There you go.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Had to get off that real quick, right?
Get off that signal chat there, buddy.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, now that we're done displaying sensitive information to the world, Anthony, anything for open forum, my man?
Well, before we get to Anthony, we know what Anthony's going to discuss, so why don't we go ahead and give him his intro.
DC, Marvel, Image, Dark Horse, The Fun Waste of Time, Comic Book Pull List.
Hey, a little trivia about that drop. When Tars first started playing that, I had no idea that was Tars's voice somehow.
Oh, really?
And I asked Tars, who did you get to do that? It sounds really good. And Tars said, are you kidding me? Anyway, I'm sorry. So, again, back to the horror. I love James Tinian. He did a book with Image that they just released, Volume 1. It's called Exquisite Courses, with Michael Walsh doing the art. The story behind it is, in this book, every 5 years on Halloween, the wealthiest families in America send a champion killer who's assigned a specific weapon that they have to use, and they drop him off in this small town to fight to the death. The family whose killer is the last standing rules until the next competition, which would be another 5 years. The citizens in the small town have no idea what is happening and are sealed off from the rest of the world and have to survive as well. The book introduces, as you can tell, it's got some vibrant, colorful designs in the artwork. The story is compelling and suspenseful. Just keep in mind, because this is the beginning, Volume 1 of the book, it's setting up a whole new world, so it's kind of exposition heavy. But for fans of Tinian's writing, I found it engrossing and engaging. There's plenty of suspense, but also be warned that it is, as expected, a little bit bloody. So if you liked Something's Killing the Children, The Nice House by the Sea, if you like Tinian's work, this is just another expansion of that.
Fantastic. All right. Well, the only thing that I want to share with you guys is I've been reading Predator versus Wolverine. I actually finished it, and it was a fantastic read. Really expanded on the Predator lore, really showed why Predators are menacing and not to be messed around with, and can compete with any superhero that's in the Marvel Universe. And it was a really, really fantastic read. And it got me so excited. I actually went ahead and bought Predator versus Black Panther. That's one that I'm reading through right now. And I'll definitely jump onto the Spider-Man one, Predator versus Spider-Man, once that one is done. But more than anything else, I got to say that what got me really excited reading that book is when the Predator Badlands final trailer finally dropped. Did you guys see that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, man. Was that trailer to die for or not?
Oh, yeah.
And it got me really, really excited. And that's one I'm definitely going to be seeing in the theater when it comes out. But yeah, for whatever reason, man, they've been killing it with the Predator franchise. Dan Trachtenberg, like I said, who is basically the helmer of all of the Predator movies and that kind of thing. He's just been doing a great job with expanding on the lore, the world building, and getting people excited about that franchise again. I don't think people have been excited since Arnold Schwarzenegger was last in the movie back in the day. You know, and he directed 10 Cloverfield Lane. That was actually a pretty interesting movie. It was, for his first film, I thought it was a very good intro to his filmography. But this Badlands trailer, which comes out in November, has me super freaking stoked. You know I love creatures. You know I love kaiju. Look at all of this we're about to get, guys.
Right? Yep.
Oh, my gosh. And not only that, we get to hear them really speak their language.
Yeah.
And I watched a couple of interviews with Dan Trachtenberg because he's been doing some promo and some marketing for it now that the film is ready to be released in less than a month now. And the one thing that he stated is he actually got with a linguist to develop the Predator language, the Predator speaking patterns. And that just goes to show the level of depth that they've actually put into building this world, building this lore, getting people excited for it, and some of the other collaborations that are going to be happening in this movie with Weyland Yutani from the Alien franchise and series. So, man, oh man, am I so ready for this. As soon as the tickets, I've been looking every day to see when the tickets are going to release because you better believe I'm going to be the first one to get my seat in whatever theater I choose to go to. But oh my gosh, man, this is going to be awesome. Well, all right, guys, that is all that we have for you this episode. I want to thank you for taking time to listen to us ramble on about all of these awesome things that we love to talk shop about. We're big geeks, and we hope that you guys are big geeks along with us, and you got to be if you stay to the end of the show.
Which
And James-
look, that doesn't include all the people that asked Tars to talk about the stuff in the beginning so they could leave the show.
That's right.
Well, they didn't want to hear me being called a milk dud. Anthony.
Wait, you called yourself a milk dud once too.
you called me a milk dud, and I roll with it because I love milk duds
I
and popcorn, bro.
apologize.
No, it's all right. Listen, you can't roll that back now. Too late. I embrace it. But listen, we want to thank you guys. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We're now doing videos on YouTube, so we'd love for you to continue with us and join us on the next episode. If you're listening to us through the audio portion, make sure that you're hitting that follow button so that you can get the audio versions as they drop as well. But fellas, do you have anything you want to close with? Anything else you want to share before we go? All right. Well, I want to thank you guys, and you all have a good afternoon. All right. Bye-bye now.